The whole Liam Kumar Day effect, not really happening.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rang up Mendenhall, he said he could make it.
Don't dig this hole. Phil, credit to the guy, always manages to do well what he has, but he is a shocking person on that. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-event.
Nah, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you go. Cancel. I'm a tag, Jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Not on my desktop, no I don't.
One interesting start to the podcast. Does Phil have a camera? The burning question on every listener's mind. Welcome to another episode of the LOC Report. we're heading into the midpoint of the regular season. We're going into week 7 now. So the early season is done. What's happened has happened. Now our teams are just going to be focusing on the second half of the season. And to join me to bask in that ambience is the same duo as last week, Coach Sherwood of Merritt, and the team ambassador, no less, and Coach Merritt of the Dark Clouds, winningest coach in OC history. How's it going, coaches?
It's going good. I like the introduction.
Fantastic. It's not the question on everyone's mind, though, is it? Because the question on everyone's mind.
It's a question on Abdullah's mind.
Is Abdullah joining the league? You know.
Oh, that's the
Is he going to win in a fight versus Ollie's mate?
Hey, we're getting into it in the news. Speaking of which, shall we get to the news?
We shall.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go then. League news. So, I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like the bloodbath of injuries kind of slowed down this week. Maybe the week before. It feels good, you know. No one's dying anymore, so it's good. So we'll start off with what injury news there is, however. So starting with Jeff's Seals. Julian Edmond. Don't know if you saw that dislocated pinky finger. It looked pretty gross. But he was able to play on, he'll be fine. Alshon Jeffrey also returned, finally, on Sunday from his lower leg injuries. He's on a bye this week, but I see no reason, unless he gets another injury, that he won't play in week 8. Other than that, Jeff Seals looked fine, so we'll move on to the Dream Team, who obviously got a big boost last week from Martavis Bryant. He had that knee injury and spent the extra week on the exempt list, but he came back, and we'll get to it in a bit, but he played pretty well, I think it's fair to say. Devontae Adams, I think he was inactive on Sunday, still suffering from that ankle injury, obviously on a bye now, so I would expect him to return after the bye. Interesting tidbit on Dream Team's reserve player Stephen Ridley. I saw a report today that he has in fact started practicing. So he could possibly be activated in the next 3 weeks and return for them. Moving on, Marshawn Lynch obviously returned last week against Carolina after having that hamstring injury for a while, and he looked good, scored a touchdown, so he should be fine for Thursday night's game too, full participant in practice. Crockett Gilmore, I think, came back last week as well from that cuff injury he had for a few weeks. He should be good to go this weekend as well. And other than that, nothing on how to stand. So we'll go on to the detonators. What's the skinny with these guys? They're actually in a relatively clean bill of health. It looks like, I think they're doing okay. So we'll mosey right along from them onto the Romosexuals. Carlos Hyde, he's been having a foot thing, throughout the season. I think he briefly left the game on Sunday, but came back, and I think he'll probably be fine for the Thursday night game, despite being a limited participant. Odell Beckham also had that hamstring injury going to last week's game, but he should be good to go this week. I don't think he suffered a setback there. Moving on to the Andy Dalton red zone. Steve Smith returned from his fractured vertebrae or whatever it was. That's not a nice injury, really. Have you ever had a fractured vertebrae, Ben?
Certainly haven't.
Well, Steve Smith not only has, but he also managed to play a game of American football with it. So kudos to him.
10 lad.
Yeah, and he'll be fine this week as well. Victor Cruz, I believe, has also started practicing again now, or he's close to it, doing individual drills. Wouldn't expect him this week, but he should be back soon enough. Moving on to Mr. Merritt's team, the Tuck Fards. Alan Robertson suffered a leg contusion, or in the non-Americanese, a leg bruise on Sunday. He was actually on crutches, I believe, for a time, which is pretty pathetic when you think Steve Smith played through a game with fractured vertebrae, and then Alan Robinson bruised his knee and used crutches. So yeah, there's that. Vernon Davis returned from his knee injury as well, and he should be go to Thursday. Should be good to go on Thursday. Though you wouldn't have known it because he put up a big fat goose egg on Sunday. So surprise, surprise. Moving on to Ford Flyers. I think they're doing okay right now. Nothing jumping out at me. Drake Bell missed another game last week. He's missed a few in a row now with some leg injuries and whatnot. So unclear what he'll be for Sunday. Tyrod Taylor, obviously playing the game in London this week. Missed last week's game with that MCL sprain. He took the first rep in practice for whatever that's worth today. So he could be back on Sunday. Nearly there, Gridiron Gang. What's the scheme? Gridiron Gang. Steve Johnson's still yet to practice and suffering that hamstring injury. Highly questionable, I'd say, for this Sunday's game. Another player with a hamstring injury, Deshaun Jackson, hasn't played a single game since week 1. He aggravated his hamstring, of course, in practice last Thursday, and so he's not playing this weekend, and then they've got a bye, so at least another 2 weeks without Deshaun Jackson for me, yay. Jordan Reed, actually, though, should return from his concussion and lower leg injuries that he suffered a few weeks back, so that would be a big boost to this Gridiron Gang team. And Brandon LaFell also can come off the PUP list at any time now. He practiced today, so he could be a big boost for Gridiron Gang as well. Finally, bare necessities. Sorry, not finally, next bare necessities. TJ Yeldon should return from the groin injury that kept him out on Sunday. I don't believe it's too serious. Dion Lewis popped up on the injury report last week with an abdomen injury, but he played the game. He should be good to go. Other than that, I think they're okay. Yep. Finally, the last two here. Iknan, how are you doing? Aaron Foster, obviously, getting stronger and stronger every week after that early season groin injury. Other than that, Anquan Bolden, of course. Yep. What was it here? Hamstring? Yeah, hamstring. Yeah. Didn't keep him out of the game last week. He played. I think he got it in the game, but he played through it. Even though he's on the short week, he should be good to go for the Thursday night game. And finally, Tom's Tyrants, Julio Jones and Chris Ivory. I'm just not even going to go into that. They've always got injuries, yet they continue to play, so that is what it is. Des Bryant talks that he could have possibly returned this week. He won't, but he's very yeah, he's very he's very close though. Won't. I think he hasn't started cutting or anything yet, but he's sprinting in a straight line, which is all you need sometimes, depending on what type of receiver you are. So he should be back over the next few weeks, I would think. And other than that, I think that is about it. So a lot of injuries, of course, but it feels like it's getting less each week. So we'll get on to the transactions now. Pakistan added wide receiver Stephon Diggs and dropped Richard Rodgers. Do you know who Stephon Diggs is, Ben?
Nope, not a fucking clue.
I do. I was going to pick. Sorry, I've just got back from having my pizza.
We didn't know you were gone.
It's arrived. But Stephon Diggs, he's had a big 2 weeks, hasn't he?
He has.
Well, time to pick him up then.
Absolutely.
In the absence of Charles Johnson, obviously with that rib injury, and the general ineffectiveness of the rest of the receivers there, he's actually stepped up, as you say, the last 2 weeks. So a good ad by this Pakistan team. For Detonays added James Starks, dropped Marcus Mariota. I guess we forgot to touch on it lately in the injuries. He's had an ankle thing all season long, and the Packers have just been knobsticks about it and not been telling anyone. So yeah, James Starks is looking like the better better back right now. The Tugfards added Carlos Williams and dropped Darren Sproles. Iknan added the Steelers defense and dropped Dwayne Bowe. Huzzah, it finally happened. Why did it take this long?
I had faith he was going to come back and score 150 points in the last 4 weeks, but then it just didn't fucking happen. So, yeah, no, I've given up for him for now.
For now, but he's on your emergency.
Rejoin.
He's on your emergency list, right?
Exactly. Yeah. When all shit hits the fan, Dwayne Bowe 0. Oh.
Has he scored up? No, he has not scored a point.
He is fit again though.
Yeah, but he's also not playing because he's
not playing. No, he's not playing, but he is in a position where he could play.
And that's all you need.
That's all I care about.
If we were a league that you got points for being available to play but not, you'd be the king of it right now, Ben.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, ADRC added the Redskins defense and dropped the Vikings.
No, you missed one of mine.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Benjamin Watson.
I haven't got to it yet.
You did ADRZ?
Yeah, I did the Washington defense and dropped the Vikings defense.
What order do you do these in? I thought you did it.
The order they're in.
What, on the waiver wire?
I'm looking on the news feed on the league page, and I'm doing it in the order they're in.
You actually crack at it. All right, carry on.
Yeah, because that's the illogical way to do it. Okay.
Well, you do everything else by team, and then all of a sudden it's just like, well.
This is turning into the most controversial section we've had in a long, long time.
The transactions have never been so controversial.
It's because I never make any transactions. I'm not used to the format.
Anyway, Pakistan added the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and dropped the Falcons defense. The Detonators added Marvin Jones and dropped Ruben Randall. The Tugfards added Chris Boswell and dropped Robbie Gould. The Iknan added Benjamin Watson and dropped Chandler Catanzaro. You happy now?
Fucking pleased as hell.
What question? Why Benjamin Watson? Not like
the precedent is if someone does well for the last 2 weeks, you've got to pick them up. And Benjamin Watson has turned in 9 points and then 18 points, I think.
Yep.
Should double check. Yeah. So how can you not pick him up?
Yep.
But essentially, it's because everyone's on a bye this week.
I'm surprised he went so low. I thought he went a lot higher than he would have.
What in the way?
Obviously, I chose
to pick up. They usually go up quite high.
Yeah. Obviously, I chose to pick up the Steelers first rather than him first. I think. But yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, the Dream Team added Devontae Parker and dropped Mason Crosby. Bit of a head scratcher on from my point of view. Phil, you were the original owner of Devontae Parker. You want to talk about this one?
Well, unless he's seen something that no one else has, unless he's spied into the new was it Campbell, the new head coach fans. It is a bit of a head scratcher, but it's certainly a player who's got a big future, but really sort of a head scratcher because there are 3 really good wide receivers in that team already. And he's sort of being phased in, so not really at the moment very much fantasy value.
Sure. Finally, the Tugfards added Marcel Reese and dropped Carlos Williams.
Hot off the press, I think that one was.
Yeah, but this qualifies as that helps no one and no one cares, right? I mean, Marcel Reese, really?
But Latavius Murray was benched.
Was he?
I think he was, yeah.
What, for fumbling?
I think so. I saw it in the deep waiver ads. He was.
No, I don't think it was because all of Marcel Reese's points came from receiving.
Oh.
We may have an instant update of a new waiver ad in a few seconds.
I was under the impression that Latavius Murray had a poor week and was.
I think he did, but I don't. Well, I mean, Marcel Reese wasn't the replacement. That's sure as hell.
Hey mate, before the bye, he had a good few weeks. Let's not this is a classic Tugfards moment.
When you say good few weeks, you mean he had 2 good weeks?
So Watson.
Yeah, that's the precedent. You do well for 2 weeks, you get picked up.
No, Ben. This wasn't in a row. this wasn't in a row though. His first
Oh,
good
okay.
week, he got 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was one of his good weeks. And then he got 49 yards and a touchdown last week. That's pretty much it.
That sounds like a sick pick, Phil.
I need to be fair. I need you to cover at running back. So
Okay.
there's not a lot on
Fine,
waivers.
whatever.
Slim
I don't know
pick.
why we spent so much time on Marcel Reese. Moving on. Right. So let's just take a look at the milestones real quick for the LC. With the win this week, the Tom's Tyrants can get their 50th regular season win, as can Bare Necessities.
What a shame for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Gridiron Gang coach, me, Nathan Stubbs, finally made it back to .500. I'm now 47 and 1 all time. So I'm 1 win away from 45 and 1 in the regular season. So woohoo. The things that are going on, Coach Nigel Wells is 1 win away from his 30th regular season and all-time win. What else is cracking? I think that's about it. Yep, so that's it for the milestones. So we'll delve straight into the Week 6 recap, and we'll start off with what we call the marquee matchup going into the week. And for the first time this season, it only took 6 weeks, was actually the marquee matchup coming out of it as well. So finally we got one right. It was Gridiron Gang against the Tugfards. Gridiron Gang were 2-7 all time against the Tugfards entering this game. Both teams were coming in on a 3-game win streak. The winner of this game would either, in Phil's case, take the divisional lead, or in Gridiron Gang's case, hold on to it and extend it. And it was actually the latter. Gridiron Gang won a comeback on Sunday night, 117.5 to 115. Thoughts on this game?
Seems like a classic matchup, doesn't it? We've been having a lot of close ones this season of about that distance part. Let's have a little look. What do you think, Phil? Do you feel like you've been robbed by the Cardinals?
So recently, the Tugfards have, when they have lost, they have directed their rage at a certain player. Before, it tended to be Andre Johnson. This week, it's very much directed towards the Cardinals, who decided not to turn up and do anything against the third-choice Pittsburgh quarterback, which is a bit of a head-scratcher. And bearing in mind that they're their second-best defensive scoring team going into the week, they got 2 points, which was in the end the difference between the two teams. When Nath got into a 2-point lead and then just slapped Vereen off, I saw that. That was very cheeky. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Vereen would have saw him over the line. But in terms of the week, it was a really, really close game. Tugfards really went into a strong early lead. We got to about 80 points by the first half of the 6 o'clock games, and everything was looking rosy. And then back came the Gridiron Gang, led by obviously DeAndre Hopkins again, whose night was really that helped out by the Jags, who were simply terrible on defense. They were. I mean, I watched the game, and me and Pat were watching the game, and it was literally terrible defending, and that didn't help me either. But like I said, a strong week by both teams. Definitely going to be featuring towards the end of the game, but towards the end of the season. But in terms of at this point, this is a big win for the Gridiron Gang, and especially to get over the Tugfards. You must be feeling sweet, I guess, Nathan.
Yeah, it's probably, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably my least favorite matchup in the LOC on the calendar, and unfortunately, it comes again in week 14. As I said, I was 2-7 against you entering this game, so history was not on my side either. But I think winning it this close makes it ever so sweet after all the crap I've had to put up with from you over the years. And You know, after I said last week that my top three is probably better than your top three. But I conceded that your whole team was better. I think I kind of proved that point, even though you disagreed on the first front, but agreed on the second. Brady, Hopkins, and I guess by extension of Lacey fucking up and doing nothing. Miller outscored your best three, which were what, Ryan, Ingram, and Barnage.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little point on that. So I'm 5-1. You are now 3-3, and we will move to the next game, which
Sorry,
yeah.
One
What's
thing
up?
I just want to ask: is it a mistake on my end, or was Vincent Jackson on a bye week and still playing?
No, he was. So I got the lead after the Sunday night game, 117.58 to 115. I had Vereen left to go, but I was like, instead of risking it, like something, I was playing Phil right. So if something weird could have happened, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
so I thought I'd just bench him and take what I got. Yeah.
It was very cheeky. I mean, I saw it before I went to bed on Sunday night, and I was just like, well, I've lost now.
Because had I played him, you would have won. Absolutely, he wouldn't have done what he did. He would have fumbled it 4 times. Anyway, moving on to our next one here. Key divisional matchup: Ben Estes against Tom's Tyrants. A win for Ben Estes would put them straight back into the division race, whereas a win for Tom's Tyrants would potentially allow them to take pole position in the division. Entering this game, Ben Estes was 2-3 all time against Tom's Tyrants. Well, they've now squared it up. They won 103-93. Thoughts on this game, Ben?
Well, looking at the scorelines is a bit wacky, isn't it? Bradford only putting in 11 to Lux 33, but then everyone else performing well. You have Ivory getting 25, and then everyone else is just meh. I mean, it's a bit of a weird game all round, but yeah. I mean, their necessities have been doing well, and although it's over 100, it's by no means like the best week so far. Mm-hmm. But I think you look at it, they've got, what is it, 3 players who are not QBs who have got over 10 points. That's what you need. You need that every week. If you get that every week, then you're probably in a good state to just put little bits together. And Luck has just been a monster. So, yeah, no, it's looking good.
Yeah, and Tom actually, he was 30 points down in the Monday night game, going into the Monday game. Sorry, and he had Sam Bradford and his kicker Caleb Sturgis left. Going into the game, you'd be thinking, well, I mean, pretty good chance he wins it. And yeah, what has been the case a lot of the time this season, Bradford just didn't perform, and I think it's fair to say he's probably cost Tom's Tyrants at least 1 or 2 victories through the season. So I think this team is ultimately held back by him. At any rate, both these teams are 2-4 now, and as we'll see in a second, what happened in the other key divisional matchup between the Detonators and the Dream Team. Obviously, going into the game, the Detonators leading the division at 3-2, but had looked a bit shaky. While the Dream Team, also looking shaky, were at 2-3. The history in this matchup was the Detonators were 3-4 all time against the Dream Team, and the Dream Team extended that to 3-5. They took this one 116-72. What's wrong with the Detonators, Bill?
It's just big players not performing, really. Murray seems to have a bit of form now, but it's Manning, Hill, Macklin, Matthews. The entire core of that big team is not producing points, and it's a big issue. And if we look on the bench, it's not really anyone that can sort of replace him. But Detonator's really struggling, and the fact that Macklin's now injured is he out this week?
Yeah, sorry, I think I missed that in the injuries. Yeah, he suffered a concussion on Sunday. Had to be helped at the locker room, so didn't practice today. I would be shocked if he suited up this weekend. Yeah,
so it's not looking good at all. So yeah, it's just that crux of players. I mean, even if you slap the quarterback difference on, it's only another 10 points. So
yeah,
you get a maximum of 82 from their detonators, and their scores over the past couple of weeks has not been consistent. So it's just that group of their core draft players have not turned up this season.
Yeah, and I think this is how the detonators differ from Tom Tyrants in the fact that Tom Tyrants have had players that haven't performed, but they've also put up some points from other places where, and obviously with them the QB has clearly held them back. With the detonators, you kind of get the feeling that even with a good quarterback, this team is still trying to find its feet. Right? It's as you said, key players just aren't performing right now.
Yeah.
To be fair, the same I think can be said for the Dream Team, right? I mean, Forsett had a very slow start of the year. Obviously, McCoy missed a lot of time. They've had trouble with receiver all year long, and Greg Olsen had a few lean weeks too. But this will look good. What do you make of Dream Team going forward, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I said last week because when I saw this scoreline, I thought this was the one that I said 110-70. But it turns out I just said if McCoy was back, that I really did fancy the Dream Team's chances, and I think that is sort of what you see here. He has got a better core, I believe. I think he can continue to put up over 100 points, even if Bryant doesn't turn up. Yeah, I mean, 26 points is a bit exceptional for him, but you know, I think there's nothing wrong with Viv's team. I think that overall it's quite a good team. I think he's underperformed, but I can see him going to the playoffs as long as nothing catastrophic goes wrong. If he keeps this kind of core going and people do what they're expected, you know, the minimum even, he'd probably be safe to get there. Because which division is he in? Actually?
He's in Southampton.
Yeah, so it's not the worst one in the world, is it?
No, and he's actually now the leader of that division, and we'll come to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But from one division leader to another, ADRZ entered the game 4-1, facing off against divisional opponent Pakistan, who were 2-3. Obviously, this is the first time this matchup has ever happened to. ADRZ obviously fresh off the loss of Jamal Charles, so this was the first chance we had to see what they were like without him. While Pakistan just trying to find something, trying to get something going. It was a close one, 83.66 to 82.82, about 0.8 of a point and a 0.84. So it was a close one in favor of ADRZ, I should say as well. So they moved to 5-1, hold on to the division lead and the league lead, no less. But what do we make of ADRZ without Jamal Charles?
Not that bad. I mean, they had a dip, but they didn't look. I mean, there aren't atrocious figures there. They're not by any means really poor. They just didn't get the touchdowns. There was only one passing touchdown from Manning. He had a bad night. One receiving touchdown from Hearns, and one receiving touchdown from Smith. So I don't think it's affected them that much. More where they were, let down was in the kicker and defense, only getting 10 points. I would argue.
Yeah, Nigel also said to me that he meant to start Blake Bortles as well, who would have obviously got them an extra 18 points. A lot of people would have expected Manning to get more than 10 as well. This was another game that went into Monday night, and they only just sneaked it. On Pakistan's side of the ball, though, I mean, they got Lynch back this week, but it didn't really deliver the desired boost. Well, what do you make of them, Ben?
I think it's interesting that Andy Dalton did so well. Since it's one of those, it's like when you put Fitzgerald up against me, you expect them to crush, to be mean. But yeah, I mean, he's got some consistently low scores. Again, you know, you mentioned, Phil, the kicker in defence for Andy Dalton red zone. I mean, he's put together 7 points with his kicker and defence, which is, again, you know how I feel about defences and kickers. It's a very important part of scoring huge amounts of points. Yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen, Lynch, and Dalton are the only people who got over 10 points. And really, other than Dalton, no one had a fantastic week. So, I mean, we haven't seen a great performance so far. We haven't seen a great turnout for Pakistan this season, and I'm not massively bullish on him coming back and actually having a sort of turnaround season. I think it's not looking like a very cheerful outlook. But
Sure.
we'll see.
We'll go on to our next game now, which also involved two teams from the Portsmouth division. Ford Flyers took on Jeff's Seals. In this one, Ford Flyers were 1-0. Saw each other last year, and half of Chris's wins came against Jeff Seals. Entering this one, Ford Flyers are 1-4 entering the game. Jeff Seals were actually a surprising 3-2, not too far away from the division lead, no less. But in this one, I mean, Ford Flyers had their best week of the season, and I think the second best week of the season overall, points-wise. They won this one 149.84, 0.16 away from 150, to 90.97. Can Ford Flyers sustain this? I think is the question everyone wants to ask. Phil, can they sustain it?
Well, I think the first thing we have to say to Chris, we're sorry. We're sorry for constantly criticising your team, and you backhanded us one right here with 149, just a point away from the score I posted. I think was week 3. I mean, it's just no. I don't believe they can, but I believe they're a better team than we are letting on. Certainly, Devonta now is on 4 weeks now, going over 20 points. Which is just huge. And then they're getting some good plays from like Brown for Arizona. They got the kicker Brian McManus. He's chipped in with a good load of points. Jeremy Graham seems to be improving, and then you got Calvin Johnson had a monster game. I don't believe everywhere in this team is going to keep this up. I don't see Blount getting 22 points a game, and some of the other scores are a little bit excessive. But you know, Forge Flyers, we have been quite negative on the team this year, but they're doing a good job, and that's a big win. And it's sort of, you know, this season's beginning to sort of take off now.
Sure. We won't spend too much time on Jeff Seals, but you know, say what you will, they're being controlled by the projections and nothing else. Yet they've actually managed to post good scores every week. I think, Ben, last week you said that they're probably not going to amount to anything. I'm guessing nothing's changed in your viewpoint there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, Stafford getting 40 points. I mean, what the fuck is this? But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't have much faith. I mean, what are we going to do if he fucking gets to the playoffs? What if he wins the bloody league? I mean, it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, who do we give the trophy to?
Yeah, exactly. But maybe Pat. Maybe that'll be his compensation for having to take them on last year. He gets the trophy. No, seriously, I don't know that he's really gonna. I think he's going to do all right, but I think he'll fall short. I think he'll fall short at the playoffs, fortunately, because otherwise that's going to be so fucking painful.
Well, as we said earlier, you know, they may be under new management not before long. So
it needs human contact, doesn't it? It needs a little bit of human sort of like.
Does it? I mean, you've seen their coach rating, right? Until the Matthew Stafford thing, they were topping coach points. I mean, it kind of says it already, doesn't it?
Yeah, fucking hell.
Anyway, so we'll go on to our last game here, and this involves two Winchester Division opponents. Icknan took on the Romosexuals. The last time this matchup took place, 2010, so a long time ago. The Romosexuals were 1-1 and lost 1 in their 2010 encounter. Icknan were bottom of the division entering this one at 2-3, while Romosexuals were just above at 3-2. But Icknan would snap the losing streak of 3 games here, take the all-time to 2-1, win it 115-83. I'll let you talk about your team. What did you like this week from Icknan, Ben?
I liked it. I got some fucking points.
Don't we all?
I was a little bit sour about Brown for a bit because it seemed like he wasn't even on the field. But I mean, I joked last week, but again, Gostkowski and the Broncos put together 31 points. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There was some questioning as to whether I should have put in Gio Bernard, but as it turns out, my replacement of Bolden was actually only about 3 points below. And actually looking at his history, that's quite a good week for Bolden, so perhaps I should be more happy. But yeah, no, Ellington's the only weak link from my point of view. I was reading about it a little bit, and there's some suggestion that while he's been gone, obviously Johnson's been getting a lot more of the touches.
Yeah.
There's a danger that he won't come back fully because he's just been sort of overtaken. Obviously, I'm not going to judge that too quickly. It is fairly soon after his injury, but that is slightly worrying. But then again, Gio Bernard's been doing better than anyone else expected, and just as well as I expected. So, I'm happy to have him as my flex position, whether I bring him in or put Ellington in. So I'm pretty. I think if I had lost, you should have put me at 12th. But now that I haven't, I can accept my position.
Good. And I think let's point out for the first week, hooray, you managed it. You played the right quarterback. Well done. The Romosexuals, for the second time in 3 weeks, they put up another lackluster score, and I kind of went back. In the power rankings, I made reference to a couple of weeks ago that they got a lot of star power on the team, but the players just not every week. They're just not performing. What do you think about it, Phil?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with you. I think this is another team this week, a little bit like the Tuckfards and a little bit like Pakistan, whose kicker and defense let them down. 4 points, not good at all from those two teams. So I think it's the Romosexuals. They had a good week. They were just a little bit unlucky with the amount of touchdowns again. We see, okay, apart from Forte, Hyde got 55 with no touchdown. Fitzgerald, Odell Beckham got 1, but not really anything there. So they didn't actually have that bad a week. It was just a lack of touchdowns and the kicker and the defense. This team will recover, but they're sort of the most likely team in the Winchester League to sort of either go really, really well or to sort of bust in a week. And you've seen it from the last 3 weeks where they've gone from a low score to really high back to a low this week.
Sure.
That's the thing. If they were in any other division, I think that I'd be a lot more optimistic about them getting to the playoffs this year. But our division is just super tough at the moment, and that kind of fluctuation, volatility, is just not really what you want from your team. If you want to put in a lot of wins, you want to get to the playoffs. Because I mean, from our division, you might even need to have 10 wins this season. Like, it depends how it goes on, obviously, but
yeah,
it's going to be a high standard of winning. To get to the playoffs, you're going to need a high standard of play.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm not too optimistic.
So we'll take a quick look at the standings. Looking at the Southampton division, Dream Team winning right now at 3-3, but they've got Benetton also on 3-3. They're behind by about 28 points. But then you've got Tom Tyrants and Benesissis at 2-4, who are outscoring both the Dream Team and Benetton. So really all to play for right there. In the Portsmouth division, ADRZ has extended his gap over the rest of the division. He's 5-1 right now, leading that division. And Jeff Seals coming in at 3-3. Dropped the game obviously last week with Foot Flyers. Actually climbing off the bottom of the division now, 2-4. They've got it on points over Pakistan, who are also 2-4. And finally, the Winchester division, as we said a bit earlier, Gridiron Gang 5-1. They're leading the division right now, extending their win streak and their lead over the rest of the division. Ikenan, Tough Cards, and Romosexuals are all 3-3. And this division accounts for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th overall best teams. So
incredible.
Make of that what you will.
It's just absolutely incredible, isn't it? I mean, whoever wins this division wins the championship. There we go.
With the case.
And interestingly, like I said before, it's such a tough division. Homosexuals only have 587 points, then 606 for UNAID, and then me and Phil are both on in the 630s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even if he gets the wins, you also have to contend with the points difference when you get later on.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's tough. So that brings us on to the power rankings, and I'll just reel off the teams and how they moved, and I'll let you go at it. So right at the top, we got Ben Necessities. They're up 2 to number 1. Iknan up 4 to number 2. ADLZ dropped 2. They were at 1 last week. They're now at number 3. Gridiron Gang climbing up slowly. They were at 7 last week. They've moved up 3 spots to number 4. Tugfud standing pat at 5. The Homosexuals fall 4 places after their poor performance. They're down to 6 now. Tom Tyrant's also sliding down a bit. They were at 4 last week. Then they moved down 3. To number 7, Forge Flyers. Despite the really good week, they're still at number 8. The Dream Team, they climbed off the cellar. They're now at 9. They moved up 3. Jeff Seals holding steady at 10. Pakistan also holding steady at 11. And Detonators dropping down from 9 to 12. What do you make of the power rankings?
I think they're quite accurate.
Yeah. I'd probably put Pat below Ollie, but I'm still not very bullish on Ollie's team. I think I'm also probably a little bit high, all things considered. But yeah, it's broadly right, I'd say. It's so hard when everyone's 3 and 3 to say, who's better. So yeah, I think broadly right.
And if you haven't seen it, there is a new league poll, as always every week. This week's poll: which top 3 high-scoring team is the best? Iknan, the Tugvard, or Tom Tyrants? You can go vote on that now on the league homepage.
I just have.
So we'll get to the last stanza of the podcast now. Next week's matchups, and I think for the 3rd week in a row, Gridiron Gang is involved in another marquee matchup, and for good reason, probably the best reason this week. It is the Father-Son Bowl. It is also a Wembley Bowl with the Wembley game. Gridiron Gang take on Bare Necessities. This is just a great matchup. Everyone loves this matchup. But it's really even. Bare Necessities are 6 and 5 all time against Gridiron Gang, so it's really close. This season, obviously, there are a little bit opposite ends of the spectrum. Gridiron Gang leading their division of 5 and 1. But Bare Necessities, no doubt, one of the best teams despite being at 2 and 4, and can obviously still contend for that division. They're on a 2-win streak. Gridiron Gang are on a 4-win streak. Right now, the projections are in Bare Necessities' favor, 116 to 93. Lineup changes in this one on Gridiron Gang's side. Christine Michael comes into running back 2, as Eddie Lacy is on a bye. Vincent Jackson, I would say, comes back into the lineup, coming off the bye, but he was technically already in it, so he slides into wide receiver 2. Flipping with Tate, who goes to the flex. Darius Green currently in at tight end, but that will probably be rotated with Jordan Reed if he's back. On Bare Necessity's side of the ball, TJ Yeldon comes back into the starting lineup after missing last week with a groin injury. Dante Moncrief also making the start again at wide receiver. And Chris Johnson in the flex. Emmanuel Sanders got pushed to the bench because he's on a bye, and Mike Wallace has also been benched as well. Who wants to talk about this game first?
Oh, go on, Ben. You go.
All right. I was going to suggest you, but anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really anticipate that game that much, but that's because I'm not a stub. But yeah, I mean, going into this, I'll probably give Bare Necessities the edge. I think they've had a really good team this season. I think you've done well, Nath, but part of that's been matchups. So I think Bare Necessities got a good call, and I think he'll beat you. But frankly, I've not got any strong opinions either way. I've not,
Sure. Well,
I disagree in the way that I think that this is a really good matchup, and the fact it's going to be at Wembley Bowl is going to be pretty competitive.
That's the most exciting part of it.
I agree in the fact that I think this run from the Gridiron Gang is going to come to an end this week. I think bare necessities have got the matchups here to really hurt the Gridiron Gang. I mean, there's a really good matchup that it's the New England Jets game, which is always a feisty encounter, and there's a couple of players on both teams who are involved, which I think is going to be very competitive. But I just don't see Gridiron Gang getting the points they did last week. Lamar Miller, he's the big sort of question mark this week. He had a really good week last week, but can he keep it up? Vincent Jackson has been consistent, but not spectacular. Golden Tate finally got his touchdown.
If you can call it that.
A touchdown, which I was very peeved at on seeing the replay because I didn't feel like it was. And then the big one, obviously, is Christine Michael, who is going to be relatively unknown going into what is really his first start.
Yep, I'll take you.
But bare necessities, they got their seasons coming together. They got some big players and some good matchups. This could be the week where bare necessities announce that they're back and are begin to mount their charge to the playoffs. So I think bare necessities would take it.
I'm gonna go with my team. Screw both of you. I definitely admit this is probably maybe apart from our matchup last week, Phil, this is probably my toughest test of the season so far. I think it's fair to say. But 4 weeks running now. My team has, by one method or another, found a way to win every week. When that's happening, I think it's tough to go against it, and while I admit it's probably a more shaky week, and I even admit in the power rankings it's probably going to be a bit of a lean week, I still think I can take it, so I'm going to go with me here. Our next game here, Ignan against Tom's Tyrants. This is an interesting game too. So Ignan at 3-3, coming off a win, looking to extend it to another one, keep up with the rest of the division, no less. Or Tom's Tyrants looking to get a win to maybe solidify themselves in the division right now. The previous matchups between this one, Ignan at 3-5 all time against Tom's Tyrants. Excuse me. Projections have this one going Ignan's favor, 104-92. Lineup changes in this one on Ignan's side of the ball. Mike Evans comes into wide receiver 2 for Demarius Thompson, who was on a bye. Ben Wilson comes in as starting tight end for Martellus Bennett, who was on a bye. Matt Jones comes into the lineup for Anquan Bolden. On the other side of the ball, Tom's Tyrants, I do not think they have changed their lineup yet, as they still have Tyler Eifert in, and he is on a bye, so expect Julius Thomas probably to fill in for him. Thoughts on this game, Phil?
This is another great matchup. Two teams who have been relatively successful over the past couple of seasons. I think it's going to be close. Ignan have a lot of players on a bye.
Yeah.
I was going to say a few, and then I looked to their bench.
Sorry, I missed the Steelers. That's probably your best player. The Broncos defense has come out, and the Steelers.
I was going to bring this up myself when I got to talk about it. Yeah.
It's going to be an important week for Ignan because this is their big bye week. They need a win to keep up with their division. But they got some players who, again are quite a few risks. Arian Foster going against a Miami expensive, we'll say, Miami team who really did well against Tennessee last week. Can they continue this defensive run and stop Arian Foster on the ground? You've mentioned your concerns of Ellington, and I agree. Will Evans has been a bit disappointing this season, and then you got Ben Watson and Matt Jones. So, yeah, very interesting what Ignan is going to produce this week. Certainly, you would think that Tom's Tyrants will at least put up a consistent score. It's whether Ignan can sort of do the same with all their players on the bench.
Who's taken?
It's definitely going to be a bit of a dodgy one for me. I'm going into it. I'm probably going to back Tom's Tyrants, to be honest, because four of my players are on the bye week, and pretty much every single one of them is a core member of my team for actually turning in any points whatsoever. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Maybe Matt James will have the second coming. We're hoping Watson continues to play well. It'd be nice if Mike Evans actually played decently along with Brown. And it'd be good if Ellington could suddenly piss on Johnson. But, you know, the whole thing is a bit of a clusterfuck of who could I find on the buys / who do I have in second reserve who's maybe going to
Is that a technical
do
term?
anything.
Clusterfuck.
Pretty much. So, yeah. Interestingly, they have Cam Newton projected for more yards. So that's probably wrong, unless I switch him in and then that'll be right. Oh, wait, no, other way around. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Tom. I think he's just going to have a normal week, and a normal week is not going to be what I have. So it's going to be a bad week for me.
Yep.
I'm gonna agree. I think with Tom's Tyrants, I think they just got the consistency in that team. I think it's going to be close though.
Yeah. If it's close, it'll be in the 70s.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Ignan in this one too. You know, Tom Tyrants have seen some good weeks out of them as well, no doubt, but they're still a bit shaky, I think. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with what's been working, and that's Ignan. So our next game here, Jeff Seals against the Dream Team. Storylines heading into this one. The Dream Team, obviously, with a win last week, took the lead in their division. They're now at 3-3. While a loss for Jeff Seals, they fall a bit further behind in the division. The matchup in this one, the Dream Team are 2-0 against Jeff Seals all time, and looking at the projections, it's very one-sided right now, 120 to 68, but that's just because I haven't changed Charlie's lineup yet. So Jeff Seals, they will have Matt Stafford in for Aaron Rodgers and Alshon Jeffrey out for Amari Cooper. I think that's it. And they may also have Bishop Sankey in for Now Davis, whatever the projections are. And on the Dream Team side of the ball, Martavis Bryant goes into wide receiver 2. Latavius Murray comes into the flex for Leonard Hankerson. And that's the lineup changes there. Your thoughts on this game, Ben?
I've been fairly optimistic about the likelihood of Viv making a bit of a comeback. I think this will fuel that. With Aaron Rodgers out and Alshon Jeffrey as well, I think he's going to be clear to have a very nice win as long as Matt Stafford doesn't do 40 points again, obviously. But yeah, no, I like his core. I like McCoy, I like Garcon, I like Forsett. I mean, what's not to like? Whereas on the other side, I do like Bell, I do like Edelman, but other than that, I'm not particularly optimistic about the state of Jeff Seals. So yeah, I think this will be a comfortable win for Viv, and I think it'll put him on a good track to keep hold of the top of his division and sort of continue the streak.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dream Team as well. I think it's going to be close, but I see the Dream Team now. We saw them go back into that ad by Bryant has made a massive difference. I mean, I had him last season, and he just goes on some ridiculous long plays, so his upside is huge. There are a few risks there, though. Latavius Murray, what I was mentioning him earlier, or what I was mentioning about Murray earlier, was that he hasn't had the greatest couple of weeks, and he was actually taken off in the final drive 2 or 3 weeks ago against Chicago. So he's not at the moment a solid fantasy option. He's playing as the sort of flex position this week. But I think the Dream Team just have enough here. Jeff Seals is struggling with Rodgers and Jeffrey, probably 2 of their best players on a bye. So I think the Dream Team will take this relatively comfortably.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dream Team too. I think, yeah, the Dream Team looks like they're kind of setting up prime position to maybe take control of that division right now. Only one good week. You know, they've had a few rough weeks too, but you know, they got McCoy back. Fawcett's rolling. Brian obviously was a big boost. Olsen's been better. And I think Murray's a capable running back too. So, yeah, I think they'll probably take this one. So our next game here, Pakistan against Badetnes. So, obviously in this one, Badetnes lost their second on the trot with another poor week last week, and they lost their leadership of their Division 2. While Pakistan also lost for the second game of the row and dropped to the bottom of their division. Badetnes are projected to win 92-84 in this one, so a pretty low scorer. Lineup changes on Pakistan's side of the ball. I don't think they've had any change. Oh no, I think Rashad Jennings is coming to the starting lineup. Yeah, Rounder Cobb's on a bye. Eric Decker moves into the wide receiver 1 position. On Badetnes side of the ball, Russell Wilson coming in for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's on a bye, but he probably would have made this move anyway. Robert Turbin is coming as the starting running back for Jeremy Hill, who was on a bye. Jeremy Macklin's still in the lineup, but as I said earlier, I anticipate him not playing, so Terrence Williams will likely make the start instead. Kendall Wright's in the flex, and those are the changes. So I'll take my thoughts on this one real quick. So probably going to be a low scorer, I would anticipate. These teams haven't looked great the past couple of weeks. On Badetnes' side of the ball, I think a quarterback change is the right move for this team. Absolutely. But obviously, they're without some key players this week. Jeremy Hill, and as I said, I anticipate Macklin missing the game too. I don't. It looks like it's going to be another lean week for Badetnes. You know, Murray's against Carolina. He's had troubles getting it going. And he's facing that tough defense. Same goes for Jordan Matthews. He's going up against Josh Norman, who's just been a lockdown corner. Kendall Wright's going up against Atlanta, who, they've been a pretty good defense to their credit up to this point too. We go to the other side of the ball. Pakistan very optimistically starting Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he'll be back this week, so a waiver QB will be on the cards there. But they've got Lynch back in the Thursday night game. And Dak's going up against New England, who after Malcolm Butler, they're not great in the secondary. Keenan Allen, who's just been a target hog, going up against Oakland. As I said, it's going to be a low score, and it's really hard to pick a winner here. But I think I'll go for Pakistan, purely for the reason that they always seem to kind of get around 80, 90 points, regardless of what's happening. Whereas with the Badetnes, we've obviously seen some really low scoring weeks. Phil, what do you think?
This is like the NFL equivalent of watching the Jaguars play the Detroit Lions, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It's not great. It's not great for either side.
Someone's going to win, though. But either way, it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's hardly a spectacle, this one. Both teams averaging sort of low scores. But Badetnes is having just one of those seasons. I mean, having to play Robert Turbin, who's only played one game and run for 27 rushing yards.
He got 10 carries, though, to be fair. I mean, I completely agree, but 10 carries for your first game with a new team, that's signifying something, I think.
Absolutely, but 10 carries of only 27 yards.
Also,
I know the defense is good, but I mean, what I'm saying is it's a deep pick. It's a deep pick. Pakistan has a big chance here. He's gonna probably. Well, Roethlisberger said he would play if he practiced on Wednesday, and I don't know if he did. They're saying he played 11 on 11 drills, so it looks like he will come close. So it's going to be quite difficult for Pat this week because he's in a bit of a quandary. If Roethlisberger doesn't play, there might have to be a late waiver move, and that means getting rid of some bench players. So that's not ideal for them. Bearing in mind they're not a strong team.
Yeah, I think I saw that Roethlisberger would have to get a full practice in order to play. Ben, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add too much, but I think once they get a replacement QB in for Roethlisberger, or if Roethlisberger does play, I think that will tip them over the edge. I think, neither team is amazing, but I really don't rate the destinators this season. And I think when you look at these matchups of who's playing who, I think you've got to give the slight edge to Pakistan, but it'll probably be close.
I'm going to disagree, and here's why. I think Pat keeps making coaching decisions that are questionable, and this week is putting the Buccaneers defense in. Coons is doing his kicker. It's not a great matchup, and just some of the decisions Pat's made this season have been sort of standard rookie mistakes, and I think that the Destinators have got enough points there to beat Pakistan, because I don't think Roethlisberger is going to play, and that's going to force Pat into making a game time sort of decision, and having to bring in another quarterback, and I think that's going to be the sort of fatal blow for him this week. So I'm going to take their Destinators.
I don't think he's going to wait. I don't think he's going to wait until the game time to call that one. I think he'll get one probably today or tomorrow or something. Obviously tomorrow or the day after or whatever, but I think he'll get someone in, and then it will be a matter of who. But who would you pick for the best QB on the waivers?
Probably Mariota.
Mariota's back on it now.
Oh, he might miss the game too. Oh yeah, he's on the waiver, but I just thought he suffered a knee injury, so he might not even play himself. Yeah, that's a good question.
There is not a lot there, is it? I mean, it's
not.
There may be Derek Carr or Colin Kaepernick, or not against Seattle. Town. Yeah, it's not pretty. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's not dwell on this game much longer. Next one here, the Roman Sexuals against Andon Red Zone. As we said, Andon Red Zone currently leading the league, 2-game win streak, looking to extend that this week. While the Roman Sexuals coming off a loss, they're obviously going to need a win to keep up with the division as well. They're at 3-3. These two have never played each other, I don't believe, because the ADRZ came in. Was the Roman Sexuals left, so first time these two will have ever played each other. Lineup changes in this one, and nothing on the Roman Sexuals side at the moment, but I'd like to point out this team currently has 3 kickers.
I was about the same thing.
So Matt Forte will come out of the lineup, unfortunately not for one of Dan Bailey or Nick Folk, that's illegal, so probably Duke Johnson, I would imagine. On ADRZ's side of the ball, Blake Bortles is making the start at quarterback over Eli Manning. Other lineup changes. Todd Gurley comes back in after the bye, sends, I think, Ronnie Hillman to the bench. AJ Green also goes to the bench. He's on a bye. And Theo Riddick coming into the flex for him. And they're obviously currently without a defense, but they've got the Redskins on their bench. So your thoughts on this game, Ben?
I don't know. I think Andy Dalton Red Zone will continue their streak, to be honest. I think they've been putting up good, consistent scores. I think they'll do it again. I don't know. I mean, Forte is a good player for the homosexuals, and he doesn't really have anyone at the moment to fill that position in the same way. I mean, obviously the kicker decision is the big one, because you all know that the kicker is going to go for about 25 points. But I think it's going to be difficult to get that one right. So yeah, no, I think Andy Dalton will probably. I don't know that they'll break 100 this time. But I do think they'll win. That's my opinion.
Oh,
I think ADRZ have made a mistake here. They've started Bortles, and his stats look very, very impressive on the face of it. He's the 5th ranked quarterback, but his big numbers.
His team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. It's amazing. It's the fifth quarterback in the league. But then you look at the teams he's played, and then you're like, oh, because he's played Miami, he's played New England, Indianapolis, Tampa Bay, and Houston. Not great teams.
Hang on a minute.
Well, okay,
New England, not a great team. How did that one get in there?
Sorry, not great sort of like passing defenses here. We're not talking about the best sort of like passing defenses against like the defenses against quarterbacks. We're not saying that they're.
But then again, neither is Buffalo.
No, that's true. But I think Buffalo have a good defense. They could, you know. The last really top quality defense that the Jags played was Carolina, and it restricted Blake to 11 points.
You're comparing the Carolina defense to the Bills defense.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I think the Bills are supposed to be one of the higher ranked defenses. I should know because I love defenses.
You look at the stats. You look at the stat sheets; they're terrible.
I know on the stat sheets they are. But I think they perform all right.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is, although Manning is a bit inconsistent, I think he's a better option this week than Bortles. And I mean, Bortles is a bit of an enigma because he looks great on the stats, but his decision making is just atrocious. If anyone saw the picks he did.
But this is fantasy football. You can be a good fantasy football quarterback and not a good real life quarterback. We've seen it all the time.
Yeah.
Need I remind you of Tebow?
I just get this feeling that ADRZ have been a little bit hasty, and they're playing a Dallas team on the down, and they would be better off taking Eli. But no, I think I do agree. I think ADRZ will take it. Just the homosexuals sort of struggling with players. It is a bit of a head scratcher. They got 3 kickers. Sort of some trolling going along here. But
3 kickers in all. I think I'll probably actually go with the homosexuals. Even though Flacco's got a tough matchup against Arizona, they've got the star power, and I just want to believe that all those names can get it done, right? No knock on ADRZ, absolutely no knock, but they've got a few tough-ish matchups this week. They're not quite at full strength. As you say, the Bortles decision could easily backfire, and I'll see it firsthand if it does. I don't know, just a feeling the homosexuals take this.
So what you want is for the whole of our league to be even closer.
No, it's not what I said I want. It said what I think will happen.
No, you said you want to see them you want to see them perform.
No, I want to see the homosexuals, those players that for my general belief in fantasy football, I want to see them do well. Otherwise, fuck it.
I mean, it helps all of us out if the homosexuals win. So technically, we want the homosexuals to win.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really. Someone has to win in the Portsmouth division. That doesn't affect the wild card. It probably just makes the, whatever. Right, our final game here, Tuck Farts against the Ford Flyers. Tuck Farts obviously coming off of a loss where they had a shot at taking the lead in the division. So they're going to have to work a few weeks probably to get that shot back. While Ford Flyers obviously just coming in off of a momentous run of scoring. The history in this lineup, Ford Flyers is 4-5 all the time against the Tuck Farts, so a fairly close one. Tuck Farts are projected 106 to the Ford Flyers 94. Lineup changes in this one. For the Tuck Farts, Allen Robinson moves into wide receiver 2, and Joseph Randall moves into the flex. James Jones has been dropped to the bench as he's on a bye. And other than that, nothing there. No, I'm not commenting on your kicker. Ford Flyers lineup changes here. I don't think there's been any yet. They've still got their defense on a bye. So that is what it is. So, Phil, your thoughts on this game?
Firstly, I want to know what's wrong with my kicker. Boswell had a good week last week. He had a good.
I'm not commenting on kickers.
Okay. I won't spend.
I feel like bad enough mentioning them in the waivers. So.
Okay. I think the interesting thing for the Tuck Bards this week will be the flex position,
I would agree.
Randall has lost the running back position, the number one running back position in Dallas. So who does he go with? It's a bit of a interesting decision that the Tuckfards have got to make.
You're speaking about yourself in the third person right now.
He's been doing that all fucking night, and I've been thinking it's
well, it's sort of. I'm trying to
catchment, is it? Gosh, isn't this coach very good? This Tuckfard fella. I don't know who he is, but gosh, he is rather good.
Well, his stats do say he's the best, so
not in playoffs, he's not.
All right. Forge Lions, though, they are hot at the moment. They are really hot. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. Can the Forge Flyers carry on this sort of big scoring streak? Like I said before, I don't see people like Blount and Brown, and I don't see Sims getting as many points as they did last week. And it'd be interesting to see how Graham does away in San Francisco. But this could go either way. But obviously, I'm going to take the Tuckfards. I think this week everyone's going to perform. There's always a bounce back week when the Tuckfards lose. History suggests that happens. So Tuckfards win up to 4-3.
I'd like to see the evidence for that before you make a claim like that, but okay.
So I think that the Forge Flyers, I'm going to extrapolate their last week win, and I'm going to say they're going to break records and win 170 to 105. I think you're going to do well, Phil, but I think this team's hot, so that's essentially the entire rooms of my analysis. I think they're going to all score probably at least 20 points. There's going to be a couple of breakaway 40-pointers, and you'll lose.
I said
I feel very sad about it, but it's okay. Okay.
Best analysis ever. I can't possibly choose the Tuckfards for 2 weeks in a row, could I? I think the world would implode. Well, I'm not going to. I was going to pick Forge Flyers anyway. I was just asking the question. Forge Flyers are in form. I think, Lamar Miller managed to churn out points against Tennessee last week, so God only knows what Devontae Freeman's going to do. Tannehill gets a nice soft matchup against Houston. Bond's not going to have a good game playing the Jets, but Calvin Johnson looks like he's back. I disagree with your point about John Brown. He's on pace for, I think, about 1,300 yards this season. He's having a great year.
I have just seen he's playing Baltimore, so that is like a guaranteed 25 points.
Yes. Jimmy Graham also got a lot of looks on Sunday. While he has been wildly inconsistent, I could certainly see him playing well in this one. On the Tuckford side, I haven't got a knock against them as such. I think, they've got some nice matchups. Ryan against Tennessee, Ingram against Indy, Pearson against Detroit. But after those three, I don't know. I'm still not convinced. And no, I do not consider Gary Barnidge as a freaking tight end one.
He's the second best tight end in the league.
I don't care what he is.
When I was me and Pat were watching the game, and it was just brilliant because I was just like, yeah, because I thought he was going to get a big fat zero, and to get 2 touchdowns on 3 receptions.
Against the Broncos as well. It's just crazy. But I'm going to go with Forge Flyers. So,
can I just quickly say something?
No.
Just about Devonta Freeman, and he is facing the team that dropped him in week 2, and it is obviously he's going to hit like 40 points.
Oh my god! Why did you do it in third person again? Just so you dropped.
Mate, it's made the podcast more exciting.
Sure.
Right, we're rapidly falling off the wheels here. So
40 points.
Let's close this quickly. So, as I said at the top of the show, heading into the midpoint of the regular season, it's all still to play for. No doubt going to be another exciting week in the LOC. I wish you the best of luck this week.
I need to make one more point.
Yeah.
If you're out there, whoever you are, we need another member for our league. I don't know who you are listening to this podcast, because frankly, it probably doesn't make any sense. But if you're interested in joining, if you feel like we're your friends, even though we don't know you, then simply send an email to, tweet at, what is it, the LOC?
LOC Fantasy.
LOC Fantasy.
Yeah.
And Nate will vet you and find out if you're good enough to join the league. It's a high level of standard, as you can see from...
You have to be really sad, but go for it.
Yeah, well... Hey, no judgment.
Take anyone at this
Hey, I keep telling you, when we're a household name, you're going to be happy, okay? You're going to be happy that you're part of this league. Yeah, I would echo that. And I don't know if you know, if you're not part of the league, you can actually view it. The league is public, so if you've got the link to the league, you can, so who knows, we could have die-hard fans. And we hope you enjoy the league and enjoy this weekend's LOC matchups if you're out there. Goodbye.